Hi, welcome back to the show. Total Financial Solutions Candidate Forum, along with KHTS here, your local hometown station, talking about your city council candidates. What is it going to take for you to make a decision? You're going to have to vote here coming up, folks. I encourage you to vote either in an absentee ballot or certainly make yourself available. Local polling places are out and available. You can find them online even. Just type in your address and it will tell you where to vote. It's very important because these are people that represent you. These are people that have decisions that they've made in their past. We're going to learn a little bit about that. The decision-making process that they go through. How do they decide if it's right or wrong? They should or shouldn't do something. That's what it's all about here. Go to @TFS Wealth, that's our Twitter handle. You can go there and send us a tweet. Send us a question. We'll be happy to ask your city council candidates as we finish up the next 45 minutes of the show. Joining us is Berta Gonzalez. Is that pronounced correctly?
Yes, Berta Gonzalez-Harper. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Berta Gonzalez-Harper. Berta, one of the things that we're looking at is the decisions that we have made in our life. You know, we are really a product of that. Tell us a little bit about your history and what you've done public service-wise. What have you done to serve others?
Well, let's see. I have been serving for years now on the CEMEX Task Force, which is an ongoing issue. I'm an original member and ongoing member of the Whitaker-Burmite CAG, which is the Citizens Advisory Group dealing with the 996-acre piece of property that's basically in the center of the city that has some toxins and pollution, and we're working to clean
that's
up.
the area between, basically, if you look at it at an angle, between Bouquet Railroad, if you will, and Soledad Canyon. Is that right? Kind of up behind there?
It's behind basically where the Metrolink station is on Soledad, and it goes all the way over to Golden Valley to the east, and Bouquet Canyon to the west, and to the south, actually, to Sierra Highway. So it's a very large parcel of property.
Great. So one of the things that we're looking at is some of the decisions you have made historically that to say city council is the place for you. We should vote for you. Tell me one of the toughest decisions you've ever had to make, and what was the process, the mindset that you've used to decide between those two, good, bad. Sometimes it's usually if they're tougher, they're both good solutions. And what is the decision? So what did you do?
Well, I've had to make a lot of decisions to support or oppose things that many other people did not agree with. And that's been a little difficult. The most recent one is the billboard issue, where because I have what I call institutional memory, which means I go way back, and I've been involved for a very long time. I was very involved when the Canyon Country General Beautification first formed. I'm a founding member. It later became the advisory committee. One of the things that we, when we first got together, wanted to do was beautify our major corridors, such as Soledad. And we worked with the city to come up with the sign ordinance, which brought down a lot of the signs, but one of the components that we were not able to do anything about was the billboards, because at the time we were told that they were about $1 million to buy out a billboard and have it taken down. So when the city came up with this proposal to work with Metro to be able to take down, I believe it's 118 faces. I am very supportive, but as you know, there was a lot of pushback from the community saying that they didn't want the swap, which would be the 3 digital billboards, 6 faces that would be placed along our freeways. So that made me relatively unpopular and had some very unkind things said at some of the meetings. People got a little passionate about it.
It seems that way. Yeah, the billboards themselves have brought out a lot of issues for us here in Santa Clarita. But going forward, that will be resolved one way or the other, and there's going to be other decisions that we make.
Right.
But you've been involved for a long time in this concept of beautification and how you take care of our community. Mm-hmm. Talk about that. What's your passion? What drives you? Because that's a lot of work.
Well, see, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, and when I was a little girl, the San Fernando Valley was a pretty place and a safe place and a place where people wanted to bring their families and raise their children. As I became an adult and started having my family, I'm a mother, a grandmother, and even a great-grandmother at this point, that changed quite a bit. So when my children were grown and out of the house, and I was able to start looking to purchase a house on my own, because at that point I was already a single person, I had gone through a divorce, I looked at Simi Valley and I looked at Santa Clarita because I wanted areas that were relatively clean, that were safe, and where the people took pride in their communities. So I eventually settled on the house that I've been in for 21 years, very modest home here in Canyon Country, very close by. And one of the things that I noticed, though, was that there were some issues in Canyon Country country that needed to be addressed. Now, I'm not one of those people that blame the city, because I understood Valencia looks like Valencia looks because it was built by one developer who had a master plan. And those people pay into LMDs and a lot of other things to keep that area looking nice, whereas Canyon Country was developed by a hodgepodge of different developers under the county ordinances, and there wasn't that much concern for whether or not we had landscaping and trees and things of that nature. So one of the things that I became very involved in quickly was the beautification of Canyon Country. What can we do to make it look better? And there are a lot of things that we could do, that we have done, and there are still more that can be done.
So let's think about this. You walk into City Hall the very first day as an official member of City Council. That week, you're going to have staff that you're going to task to do something. People often will redirect staff's energy, and whether we have too many or too few, they're doing something now. And the point is, there's an issue that's close to your heart. What is the first day agenda that you're going to do when you walk into the room and say, I am now a City Council member, what do I do? What are you going to task that staff to do? What is that first item?
Well, I understand that they are already working on a larger community center that will serve our seniors' needs, but I think I would really get hands-on very quickly on that, because I think that there is a huge need here in Canyon Country. We are the largest community, population-wise and geography-wise. So for us not to have a way to serve our seniors here locally in our community is not acceptable to me. So I don't know how far along they are in that process, but that's the first thing that I would want to know. How far are we, and what can I do to speed that up and make that better?
And for those of us that are look around at all the other areas, what do you see us doing as a city? What brings your passion there?
Well, one of the reasons that I actually got involved in the city council race was because of the lawsuit that had been lodged against the city regarding the claims that there were not Hispanics represented on the city council. And first of all, I am a first-generation American of Hispanic ancestry, and I don't feel that the reason that people have not been represented of my ethnic background is because of anything that the city or anyone else has done. We ourselves have chosen not to run for a variety of reasons, probably a lot of the same reasons that other people have not run. We don't have the time. We don't want to expose ourselves to the nastiness, which sometimes comes, and the criticism.
Yeah.
We don't have the money. We have family or work obligations, other reasons. So, but now I think was the time to maybe, okay, if that's the claim and that's the issue, then let's get some of us out there to see if maybe we have a chance to be elected.
So a lot of that background with the city is there's been talk every once in a while of creating regional city council members, similar to Los Angeles. I was for that for a little while, and then I heard the argument against it, and then now I'm maybe not so much for it anymore. What are your thoughts on breaking the city into those districts or those regions?
Well, I actually have been a very early and vocal opponent of that concept. Again, remember, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. So I'm very much aware of how districts work, because that's exactly how the San Fernando Valley is broken up into districts. And the claim with this lawsuit is that somehow or other only Hispanics can represent Hispanics well, which I am actually insulted by that. But when you start breaking up our city, if they were to be successful into individual voting districts, then not only are you going to have only one person that is accountable to you and that you can vote in or out, but there's no incentive for all of the other people to work with that particular district representative. So you wind up with situations like you have in the Valley where Sherman Oaks is treated one way and Pacoima is treated another.
Berta Gonzalez-Harper, folks, your city council candidate. Very important you understand this. This is your vote. I want to thank her for coming in. Great ideas, a wonderful conversation as we learn more about the candidates. So we're going to continue for the next half an hour or so, next 35 minutes, with more city council candidates as we continue to grow and learn about our community, because Santa Clarita is not a little town anymore, folks. We're one of the top in the state, both in safety and in members that are voting. We have an incredible amount of power here in this city, and these are our city council members here for you. We will come back in just a minute. I'm Arif Halaby, joined by Mark Murphy, your local boomer. That's who he is. I'm Arif Halaby, Total Financial Solutions. We're going to continue City Council Candidate Forum with Total Financial and KHTS on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.